Hope you're doing well. Some people are getting day drunk, and I think that's like, it used to be an offense and whatnot, but people are taking their liberties. So yeah, just wanted to shout out to whoever painted this tanka. Look at it. Isn't it amazing? So yeah, may this reading benefit all sentient beings, even if you're very active. So yeah, like while I was minding my own business today, we outside. While I was outside, this gentleman approached me and started confessing. I was not dressed in religious garb. I don't know if in the future I will take vows to that effect, but I think he kind of knew through his intuition that he could just tell me stuff. And quote, he said, "She said yes, I said no, I was sober." And then like immediately went back to a public persona and proceeded to eat from the supermarket grill served by our beloved Anna or Anna. And my interpretation of what he said was that somebody was drunk and something happened. And now he is like kind of scared of what went down. And he had no one to talk to except a stranger who was also just trying to get by. But yeah, those are the things that happen to you on this path, and that is why this path is not for everyone. But yeah, we have friends like Dr. Sonam who can teach us a lot. Sonam Nyanda, shout out Sonam Nyanda. Someone says hi. Hello. Okay, the syncretism of Kama and Therma traditions. Syncretism. So there's the oral tradition, and then there's the Therma, which is like prophetic magic found in geographical locations of Asia. I have yet to find a terma. Oh, 20 viewers. Terma in the US, which would be pretty interesting. I used to joke with myself sometimes, like, oh, here's a terma, there's a terma, like Super Mario, where you like bump up and then like something comes down as a reward. So that's my gamification of a terma. And let's see how we're gonna move this. So yeah, shout out to this tanka. Shout out to this tanka. Did you graduate from Yapinology? I didn't order the chess. Oh yeah, this could also be a chess game. Because it's like, do you want to be with a darker skinned person or a lighter skinned person for the rest of your life? It's like a chess game too. That's what I think about sometimes too. It's like a gamble, you know. Anyways, let's continue to read from the academic article. Okay. Also, a Bhutanese kid was wearing phila, which was pretty cool. Okay. The Lanangpa is like a really famous person that is important for this discussion. Lanangpa returned to Tibet to ask his son to go to Bhutan, prophesizing the flourishing of his Vajrakila practice there. So he had no guarantee whatsoever. Lanangpa gave his son all the empowerments and necessary supports, 10, to start his Vajrakila tradition in Bhutan. Nyoton then set off to Lhasa to offer his prayers to Jowa Rinpoche statue before heading to Sumthrang through Monla Karchung pass bordering between Tibet and Bhutan. At Monla Karchung, he marked his accomplishment of his practice by subjugating a demon called Hordu when it tried to impede his journey to Sumthrang. Parts of the demon were brought to Sumthrang to be offered to the deities, and a skull and ribs are still preserved in the monastery, which are claimed to have belonged to the demon. Although Sumthrang's Vajrakila practice is a newer version of the practice, a syncretism of the oral and treasure tradition. So treasure also means terma. The lineage originated as an oral lineage that Nyoton received from his father Lanangpa, which is passed down through Padmasambhava Guru Rinpoche. The oral lineage, according to the text, notes starting from Buddha Samantabhadra to Palchen Dorje Vajrakumara and to Chagna Dorje Vajrapani. So Vajrapani is also called Chagna Dorje because my boyfriend actually asked me, what is this? And I was like, how do I explain it to you? There are like 5 different books on 5 different angles of viewing this. Anyways, Chagna Dorje Vajrapani prophesied King Ja. However, King Ja could not understand the meaning of the Tantra. My boyfriend wants to be the king and he doesn't understand the meaning of the Tantra. Therefore, Dorje Simpa Vajrasattva cleansed his bad karma, and then Vajrapani could give the teachings to the king. The lineage goes from king until Nakchang Niljor Tsemo, alias Gilwa Lanangpa, and to Guru, his son, Nyotong Trushik Choje. You can see how the lineage is passed down in the footnote. So this text is pretty complicated, and I congratulate anyone who has understood this paper fully, including his advisors. Although empowerment text that lists lineage holders does not mention Nakchang Niljor Tsemo as Lanangpa, an unpublished manuscript of Sumthrang Monastery's history written by the current Choje argues that Nakchang Niljor Tsemo is Lanangpa's name before he was fully ordained as a monk. I also started off this video talking about my future ordination. The Vajrakila tradition of Sumthrang came down through an undisturbed oral lineage, and it is extremely important to the lived tradition that Lanangpa was the seminal figure in its transmission to Sumthrang. From Lanangpa, the tradition was passed down by Nyoton to his son, Shikpo Chashi Senge. Senge means lion in Tibetan. 1237 to 1265. The second Sumthrang Dorje, and so forth until the 5th Choje, Jamyang Drakpa Yodser, 1382 to 1442. At Jamyang's time, there was certain religious conflict between the central government and local traditions, and Jamyang had to hide all their texts of their tradition at his brother Tenpai Nima's home, as he was not an official teacher of their tradition. Unfortunately, most of the texts, including the Vajrakila cycle of the Sumthrang tradition, was burned down in a fire incident at this person's house. The 6th Choje, Namka Samdrup, 1398 to 1459, went to Lodrak in Tibet and received Ratna Lingpa, 1403 to 1478, treasure tradition of Vajrakila from the treasure revealer himself. This is most likely because Sumthrang lost its most important teaching text of Vajrakila at his father's time, and he needed a text for the tradition to survive. This is another thing. It's like a lot of people are illiterate, but we still need text for some reason. And to me, it's like amazing that texts are still required for Buddhism. We do not really know the name of Vajrakila tradition of oral lineage prior to this syncretism. However, there is a commentary. Okay, we're going to skip this part because my Tibetan is trying. I try. An important feature of religious practice at Sumthrang is the syncretism. And then there's like a lot of context of the lineage holders, and they're all men, and the ritual is for like people who are not men or don't understand Tibetan like me. Sumthrang Monastery, so I'm jumping to the ritual part, has 5 main annual ritual performances throughout the year, which vary from 1 to 5 days at length. Although all the rituals are based on different deities, the majority of the 5 rituals are related to the Vajrakila sadhana. The first annual ritual of the year is called Grupai, a word that means festival in the ancient local dialect. The ancient local dialect. It is a 1-day Vajrakila sadhana performed on the 15th day of the first month of the lunar calendar. So right now the moon is like in half shape. So it's not the 15th day yet. At the end of Losar. Traditionally, it used to be a 3-day Vajrakila sadhana of great attainment, but this was later shortened to 1 day, Gurupai. The Vajrakila sadhana is performed for a day, and local people receive the blessings of Tsari Nyuma in the form of a set of sacred bamboo collections by Lanungpa from Tsari after he accomplished in Vajrakila practice. This bamboo is taken out of a wooden box, and passed by the Lama to the people sitting in the monastery, that the people may touch the sacred object. People chant the Vajrakila mantra as they pass around the bamboo, and at last it is returned to the wooden box and sealed for another year. It's like a Doraemon. Doraemon disappears for a year. This table really reminds me of that anime. On the 10th of the 4th lunar calendar is a 1-day pre-chu. A Guru Rinpoche day is also performed. Guru Rinpoche is also Padmasambhava, the lotus-born one. On the 15th day of the 5th month is 1-day Sersung or hail-stopping ritual. Although they perform the Vajrakila sadhana for this rite, the main rite for this day is Tadrin Sangdrup, which is purported to stop hail. For those who don't know, hail is really hard. It is not snow. It is not rain. It is like ice falling from the sky. In the 6th month, from the 4th day until the 8th day, a Shitro Shukbum is performed for 5 days. The annual performance of this ritual was started by the current lineage holder Choje Wangdrak Samchuk 38 years ago and continues to this day. Soon after his studies, Ashi Dechen Wangmo, the eldest daughter of the 3rd king of Bhutan, asked him to teach the school children. Choje Jamso becomes the school teacher and could not practice much or take full responsibility at his monastery. Ashi Dechen Wangmo took charge of the country after the 3rd king passed away, and the 4th king was too young to take charge. Choje Jamcho began this 5-day ritual as an apology to the monastery and tradition, using the first salary he received as a teacher to finance it. On the 10th day of the 8th month, as the 8th month is considered the longevity month, the sadhana of a long life deity, Om Amarani Zivantaya Soha, is performed. That is me, not him. Additionally, the last and important is the council. So the title of this paper. This festivity performs the ritual Vajrakila on the 10th month, and in Christian calendar, it is November. The council is a stage performance on the monastery ground that takes place over 5 days. The term council involves appeasing, mending, and petitioning rituals to Vajrakila. It is a time when all locals come together to appease the tutelary deity Idam, Vajrakila, and other protector deities for guarding the local area surrounding the monastery and the beings within that space, to petition these deities to continue their activity in the next year as well. This ritual is also meant to subjugate the evil forces and clean the space of any negativity. These negative forces are known as drageg, where the ritual text could classify dra or enemy with form that can be a real human being or malignant, formless spirits. Thus, the council is a festival of offering involving a number of sacred dances, bringing the community together to appease the deities and celebrate together as the local area, clearing negativity. So in this paper, the author also distinguishes between like things you do to subjugate things you don't like, and things you do to become a better person. So I think in this day and age of like wellness, it's very important because a lot of I feel like wellness industry fed off from like this latter part, which is like I want to be a better person. But then nowadays I feel like more it's like I don't want to be a broke person. And then so there's like a lot of tension with like the founders of wellness and then the people who are carrying on the rich heritage of wellness. So yeah, this ritual that is being discussed in this paper is about like I don't want to be a broke and possessed person. The subjugation and liberation of demonic and evil forces are done in 3 categories: Rigpa incineration, Nanpa subjugation, Nyanpa, and Pangwa hurling. We will understand these 3 tasks as we discuss the festival. The 10th month is considered the month of the yogi's exorcism. It is also considered as a sinful month since many Tibetan animals are slaughtered. However, today, as most of the younger generations are in school, so the timing is negotiated according to the school holidays. This council ritual is performed for 3 or 5 days according to the convenience and time decision of the Lama and the community. They are expressed through multimedia. There's singing, there's musical instruments, and we have like a schedule and masked dances, costumes, and the time is calculated according to Bhutanese Tibetan zodiac. And the timing of the enactments that correspond to the 12 animals of the zodiac should not fall on the same animal as the Cheje's birth year, since he is the central figure of the community. After that, the direction of the movement of the spirits should be identified, and a huge fireplace called humkang is prepared with old bamboo and basket straws. Children of the village prepare a haula, a semi-rotten tree crushed into powder and roasted to make a huge fire while throwing into the wood candle fire. These are the materials used to drive away demonic and evil forces. So coincidentally, these days, a lot of people are like doing woodwork. I think they're really stressed. So that's one reason people are like playing with trees and stuff, like burning them. I don't know. The Chöpen also prepares an effigy of a human image made from dough with its hands and legs tied and private parts erected. That's another important thing in Bhutan. They're very, very specific about erecting stuff. This effigy is used in the pressing down rite, and it is pressed down under the triangular shaped piles of wood in the courtyard of the monastery. In the middle of the ritual is the chanting of mantras. First, the mantra of the central figure, Vajrakila, is chanted, then the mantras of the 4 sons, 10 emanations, and other intense mantras. The rule of the chanting is if the central figure's mantra is chanted for 100 times, 4 sons should be 50 each, 25 each for 10 emanations, and so forth. So it's like a 1/4 division. DVSN. Shout out to DVSN, that musician. When mantras are chanted, the Chöpen display all of the materials in front of the Choje's throne. At the end of the chant, the Chöpen brings down materials and then they distribute the materials. The Lama and monks also cross their wrists with their palms facing down and blow down through the outer surface of the hand on the material in order to bless them. This enactment empowers the materials with the energy of the mantra to bless them. In order for this ritual to be efficacious, it must be performed perfectly. The use of materials, mudras, and mantras repetitively makes sure that nothing is missed and the energy is created to dispel the evil forces. So pay your Bhutanese person today if you are having problems. Take care. Good night.